In July of 2020, a British YouTuber named Dave uploaded a chilling video titled "Exploring the Most Haunted 1880s Mansion" to his channel, Abandoned World Explorer. Dave's channel primarily focuses on urban exploration, and he often shares footage of himself exploring various abandoned locations across Europe. In this particular video, Dave decided to explore an abandoned mansion situated in a remote part of France. According to Dave, the mansion was built in the late 1800s and was once the home of a wealthy family who resided there for centuries. However, one day the family vanished mysteriously, leaving behind no explanation. The mansion has remained completely abandoned ever since and has been actively linked with paranormal activity. Numerous explorers and visitors have reported bizarre occurrences within the mansion. These reports often include sightings of ghostly apparitions, hearing strange noises and voices coming from empty rooms, feelings of being watched, as well as seeing doors and furniture moving on their own. Despite all this, Dave set out to explore the haunted mansion and investigate the truth behind these claims. But unlike other urban explorers and paranormal investigators, Dave didn't bring any specialized ghost hunting equipment. His only tools for his investigation were a set of respirators and his camera. As Dave began his exploration and stepped inside the mansion, he immediately noticed the family's personal belongings and furniture were completely untouched and remained frozen in time exactly as they once were. This detail not only indicates that the mansion hadn't been victimized by looters or squatters, but also suggests that whatever the family encountered before they disappeared must have been so terrifying that they didn't bother to retrieve their belongings. Nonetheless, Dave, fascinated with everything he'd discovered, kept on exploring the mansion for the next 15 minutes, and he fortunately didn't find any evidence that indicated that the building was haunted during this time. He then went upstairs and decided to explore one of the bedrooms. However, as he was approaching the room, that's when things started to take a turn for the worse for Dave.
This is meant to be, the French say this place is so haunted. There's so much stuff and like so much activity. Already, I've stepped into one room and I'm getting such a weird feeling about this place. It's like the paintings are just watching me. I'm going to take you guys upstairs first. I'm loving this stained glass window right at the end of the corridor there. Have to be careful, this flooring. So... Hello? What was that? Wow. So I'm guessing this is the room they would have stayed. One person. So cold. Very, as I said, very religious.
As Dave walked towards the room, he suddenly heard the sound of a door squeaking. Startled by the noise, he immediately looked back and called out, but he unfortunately didn't receive any response. But given that Dave hadn't encountered anything unusual up to this point, he didn't dwell on this detail, nor did he jump into any conclusions. He ultimately dismissed the noises as being caused by the wind and eventually went towards the bedroom. However, if you listen closely at the point when he entered the room, you can clearly hear a faint whisper, which oddly resembles the sound of a child talking.
One person. So cold. So cold.
Although it's hard to determine if the voices were caused by a child, but if this actually were the case, then this encounter takes a very bizarre turn, especially since Dave heard the whisper as soon as he entered the room, where he later even discovered multiple photographs of a child with their mother. This chilling discovery might explain why Dave heard the sound of a child talking, but he was completely unaware of any of these details at the time, and he eventually got back to his exploration. However, as Dave was exploring the same room, that's when he encountered something extremely disturbing.
Look at that. It's very scary seeing the shotgun shell there right next to the fire. As you can see that way, everything's just literally coming through, destroying so much history. History's being destroyed literally every day in this place. It's like, as I said, stepping into the minutes of someone's life, the last of their life. a letter there. So much history and stuff there. What is that? Guys, what is that? Yeah, something. That's what I'm saying, look at the stained glass window. Guys, I keep hearing like a noise. Hello?
After repeatedly hearing the squeaking noise, Dave initially froze, remaining still to pinpoint its source. During this pause, he heard the faint whisper again, now sounding as if the child was asking for help. However, Dave may not have noticed the whisper, as he didn't mention it. He did, however, acknowledge the squeaking noise when he stepped out of the room to investigate its source. During his investigation, Dave heard more noises emanating from the room where he heard the whisper and the one opposite to it. But unfortunately for Dave, despite searching everywhere, he found nothing that could have caused them. Thinking that the noises were simply due to the wind or the house's poor condition, Dave eventually dismissed them. He then decided to leave that part of the house and explore the lower levels.
So sad though, these places. Guys, you all heard that. I've got my light in my hand. I'm going to move back through. These stairs don't sound good. Exploring the basement of these old properties. Creepy, I tell you. Sorry, but call me whatever you want, but it is creepy down there. I don't know, it just feels like it's gone like really cold down here as well. No, it's just looking back down the corridor. Hello? It's not what people say hello for, but I'm getting happy.
As soon as Dave went down to the basement, he immediately noted a sudden drop in temperature, a detail often cited by paranormal investigators as a sign of spirits or ghosts. However, in this case, it is more plausible that the colder temperature was simply due to the fact that Dave was in the basement, which naturally has a cooler environment compared to the upper floors of a house. But disturbingly, the squeaking noises returned even from the basement. Dave once again cautiously walked towards the only room in the basement, but he found no apparent source that could have caused those noises. After yet another failed investigation, Dave ultimately left the basement and went upstairs to explore the remaining parts of the mansion. However, as Dave was exploring the kitchen, that's when he made a chilling discovery.
Guys and gals, this place is absolutely incredible. It's like it tells a story. Like the family, I mean, look, the chair, this one chair, I kind of want to move it in, but I kind of feel that's where someone last sat. You know, playing a game of, I believe that's drafts. Guys, you'll word that. I'm going to spin this camera quick to show you. You all heard that. I swear on my life standing here now, I'm the only one down here.
After hearing the loud bang, Dave immediately went towards the noise to investigate their source. Although the noise sounded like something falling or an object being thrown into a wall, but during Dave's investigation, he didn't find any displaced objects, nor did he find anyone who could have caused those noises. By this point, Dave had absolutely no idea if the wind had caused the loud bangs, or whether they were something far more sinister. As a result, he was consumed by fear and anxiety over everything he had been witnessing within the building. But Dave didn't end his exploration, nor did he leave the mansion. Instead, he composed himself and eventually got back to his exploration. However, as Dave was walking through one of the rooms, that's when he encountered something once again.
Russian paintings, pictures. And it's a shame that this photo here has literally just fallen off the wall, you can see. Someone keeps banging that door. She reminds me of Whistler's mother off Mr. Bean. That's why sometimes it's really hard to tell the story of these places. This woman here. I mean, it's a beautiful picture. Come on, guys. I'm trying to video, man. Something keeps banging out here. It's freaking me the beep out. I'm telling you now, it's freaking me out. If there's anyone here, knock once or do something. I'm not going to hurt you, I've got a camera on you. So if anyone's watching now, I'm not a ghost paranormal channel, but I've definitely, something keeps messing with me in this room. I kept hearing noises upstairs, I wasn't going mad, I kept hearing it.
After hearing the loud bangs for the second time, Dave cautiously moved toward the noise to investigate its source. But once again, he found nothing that could have caused such a loud banging noise. After yet another bizarre encounter, Dave decided the best course of action now was to remain in the same room and see if the noises would happen again. However, as Dave was walking around the room, that's when he encountered something that completely changed the course of his investigation.
It's absolutely gorgeous. That's a shame as well, that the way the clock's just falling off the wall. The weight that you can feel just how heavy it is by moving it. Come in. Guys, you just all see that. Oh. Guys, that door just literally opened and closed. There's no possible way anyone could be behind the door. There's definitely something weird going on in this place. You all see that. The door literally just opened and closed itself. Wow. I just felt like something went over me then.
It's evident that the door mysteriously opens and just moments later closes on its own. Upon noticing the door's movement, Dave immediately went inside the room to see if the wind was somehow causing the door to move. But disturbingly, he found no broken windows nearby, nor did he find anything else that could have caused the door to move. After yet another shocking encounter, Dave was unable to make sense or rationalize anything that he was witnessing within the building. As a result, Dave eventually ended his exploration and left the mansion without any harm. It's still unclear how the door mysteriously moved, along with the true source behind the faint whispers and loud bangs that he heard. Consequently, the mystery behind whether what Dave encountered that day was paranormal remains unsolved. But based on everything Dave witnessed during his visit, the only conclusion that comes to mind is that whoever or whatever was inside the mansion with Dave didn't want him there. When Dave initially explored the building, he was immediately met with faint whispers and strange noises. When Dave decided to explore the kitchen, he repeatedly heard loud banging noises. Although a bit startled by the commotion, he still didn't leave the mansion. Finally, Dave saw the door mysteriously move on its own, which effectively put an end to his exploration. However, none of these claims regarding the paranormal have been verified or debunked and are merely based on what Dave witnessed during his visit. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether the abandoned mansion in France was truly haunted or not.
So this place, honestly, I'm so amazed with. Incredible. Just with the portraits on the wall. There. The people always look so miserable back in the day.
If you've enjoyed the video so far, it would mean a lot if you considered subscribing. Over 95% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. Your support really helps the channel grow, and in return, I promise to keep bringing you guys the best quality content. Now let's get back to the video. In November of 2024, a YouTuber named Owen uploaded a rather disturbing video titled "Exploring an Abandoned Prisoner of War Camp" to his channel Urbex Ontario. Owen's channel is dedicated to urban exploration, and he frequently uploads footage of his experiences exploring various abandoned locations across North America. In this particular video, Owen decided to explore an abandoned prisoner of war camp known as the Bowmanville POW Camp situated in Ontario, Canada. Constructed in the late 1920s, the facility originally served as the Bowmanville Boys Training School. However, with the outbreak of World War II, the site was repurposed in November 1941 and transformed into a Canadian-operated prisoner of war camp for German officers. The camp housed approximately 880 high-ranking German officers and operated until April of 1945, after which the prisoners were repatriated. After the war, the camp was closed, and the site was again repurposed as a boys' training school. However, the school faced several challenges over the years due to various key factors, and the facility ultimately shut down in 2008. Since then, the building has remained completely abandoned and has gained a reputation for being haunted. Given its dark and complex history of housing German prisoners during World War II, many residents and explorers believe that the spirits of former prisoners haunt the site. Many describe the camp as one of the creepiest places in Ontario, with some even claiming it to be among Canada's most haunted locations. Despite its dark reputation, Owen set out to explore the abandoned prison camp and investigate whether the site was truly haunted. As he began his exploration and entered the building, he immediately noticed that the structures inside were completely destroyed and that almost every surface of the building was covered in graffiti. During the initial minutes of his exploration, he also mentioned the building had a very eerie atmosphere, with minimal to no natural light coming in and a deafening silence accompanying every step that he took. But fortunately for Owen, he didn't hear or see anything unusual during this time. Owen then continued his exploration and decided to check out one of the hallways. However, as he was walking through the hallway, that's when he encountered something extremely disturbing.
There's a lot of stories and, legends about this place being haunted and stuff. I'm not a big believer in that kind of stuff, but I do have to admit these buildings here are pretty creepy. Trying to show you guys as much as I can. I know I'm probably missing a few rooms here and there, but as long as we see most of it. This is the only room here that's gonna be bright. The rest of it's gonna be dark. I got my light here, so. Wow, instantly in the hallway. You can see this place in a lot worse shape. Like, look at that, look at this. Like, all the drywall smashed out in here. Huge building. Did you guys hear that noise? What was that? See, when you're in a place all by yourself like this and you hear a noise, it's kind of creepy.
After hearing the noises, Owen initially did get startled by them and stared intently in their direction to determine their source. However, he didn't think too much about this detail, nor did he jump into any conclusions. He eventually dismissed them as being caused by the wind or simply due to the building's poor condition, given its complete state of disrepair. For the next 10 minutes, Owen continued to explore the building, and he neither heard any further noises nor saw anything unusual during this time. Owen then decided to go to the opposite side of the building and explore the remaining parts of the prison. However, as Owen was exploring one of the rooms, that's when he encountered something that sent him running out of the building.
Long, creepy, smashed up hallways. Look at that black mold. That's bad. Do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear that noise? Somebody here. Nobody's here. What was that noise? That's creepy. I don't know, guys. That freaks me out. I think we've seen pretty much all of that building anyways. If I had somebody else here, I wouldn't be nearly as on edge. But, there could be anybody in these buildings.
After hearing the noises for the second time, Owen immediately started walking in the opposite direction from the noise and started making his way towards the exit. However, as he was approaching the exit, he heard even more noises coming from the same direction. By this point, Owen couldn't make sense or rationalize the true source of the noises. As a result, he lost interest in exploring or investigating the building further and ultimately decided to end his exploration and leave the prison. It's still unclear what the true source of the noises were, along with the mystery behind whether what Owen witnessed inside the prison was paranormal. However, based on everything Owen encountered during his visit, it seems very unlikely that the noises were paranormal. It's more plausible that the noise could have been caused by a squatter or a homeless individual who was living inside the building. But again, given that Owen didn't hear any footsteps or any other noises besides the ones that he heard, this theory might not be true. The only other rational explanation that comes to mind is that the noises might have been caused by the wind, combined with the building's significant deterioration. Even the slightest breeze of wind could easily dislodge debris, causing it to fall from the ceilings or walls, and thus producing those noises. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether what Owen witnessed within the prison camp was merely caused by the wind or something far more sinister.